Lori Rosen, president of Rosen Group, talks to host Doug Simon on PR's Top Pros Talk.
Lori, we're going to be talking about the changes that are affecting the PR industry going forward. And during your 40-year illustrious career, is there anything that's still the same as it was when you were starting out?
My favorite question. When I first started in PR, the thing that completely got me excited was seeing my client's name in print or having a client booked on a radio or TV interview. TV, obviously, always the ultimate back then. And so that's what kind of got me excited about this profession. I love journalism. I like journalists, but getting that big coverage, that big hit, as it were. Now, fast forward, I still get excited when I see a client covered. And so that string of getting the placement has always been, and that hasn't changed. Everything else has along the way, but the coverage and the media placement has stayed the same.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's even becoming more valuable with AI searching news content and putting that up higher in terms of what's going to be showing up to get your organization mentioned. It's really fascinating. I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same, but I guess the more things change.
People are all concerned about AI upending our business, and it is to a certain extent. It's also helping to a certain extent, but the same principles, AI tracks articles and content on the web. That hasn't changed. What we've seen is that they clip articles that are and content that are more recent, so it doesn't go back as far. So for those who have articles or who have coverage online that want to get rid of them, that's probably going to help them right now. So yeah, we haven't changed our sort of philosophy in terms of media placements. We've only been leaning in more because it's important.
And that's probably one of the reasons you've maintained such long client relationships. That's really important. And obviously, that's something that any agency organization would go for and really put an emphasis on. How do you keep your clients happy? Any thoughts and approaches, given that there are all these seismic changes, both more rapid turnover in personnel on the client side, changes in environment, changes in emphasis, new business leaders coming in? How do you keep those long-term relationships?
I mean, they're not all long-term, but the ones that are, I'm grateful for.
Very humble of you, but go ahead.
Right. There's no question that the churn is a little faster now because of the uneasiness with the economy and with what's happening worldwide. So we're finding that, the commitments might be shorter, but once you get sort of that momentum going and the build, you pass a threshold and usually you have a good runway moving forward.
You talk also about the pros and cons of specializing in a specific industry. It's great to have that expertise, but then do you want to be more general? Because obviously, if one industry is facing problems, your business can be challenged. So, how do you strike the balance of diversifying while also specializing, if that makes sense?
So when I first started my business, we started to specialize in the magazine, quote, if anybody remembers what magazines are, they used to exist now, in the media industry. And so we had a food magazine and health and personal finance and business. So it sort of afforded us to become experts, not in the magazine business, because that was pretty basic, but in our clients' respective industries. So we had a specialty in food with Cooking Light magazine back in the day, and new food, or the food editors and food trends. Personal finance with Kiplinger's Personal Finance for years. So we learned that discipline. So when the magazine industry imploded, and it did, we were able to sort of leverage that thought leadership type expertise, and it gave us like a generalist background. We knew the personal finance industry, we knew the healthcare industry, we knew food trends. So that sort of, and could I argue both ways in terms of specialist versus non-specialist? Absolutely. But, like I could argue that if you're not a specialist in a certain industry, you bring objectivity and you don't bring any sort of preconceived notions about industry. And you go in fresh and almost blindly. On the other hand, obviously, knowing the reporters who are covering healthcare or restaurant industry or so, it's going to help because obviously, potential clients ask along the way, "Do you have good contacts? Who's your Rolodex?"
Of course.
Back in the day, the Rolodex was a little bit more important than it is today, in my opinion. I always feel like if we can find the angle and we can find the storyline, a reporter is going to respond, or a producer is going to respond, rather than someone that's a buddy or a friend. Yeah,
Right.
obviously it helps, but if the story isn't there, it doesn't matter how many bookings you've made, the reporter is going to say, thanks, I'll consider it, but yeah, move on.
Yeah. I think the biggest difference there is you'll get heard on that
Exactly.
because so many
Exactly.
times they're so overwhelmed by all that they're getting. And we have data from recent survey, especially on TV, where jobs have shrunk, but news coverage and local TV news shows have increased. They need help more than ever and are very open to PR people. But how do you navigate through where clearly, if it's from someone that you know, you're going to give it a hearing and be more likely to work with them? I think a lot of what we've been speaking about is earned media. Do you have any pitching guidance, like when you bring a new person on board, to try and encourage them and help them become good at doing media outreach effectively? Because it's a very challenging role.
You're right. It's funny because back in the day, when we wanted attention in the newsrooms, we'd send like packages or gimmicky stuff, and it did break through the clutter. That practice, unfortunately, doesn't isn't really in place
Right.
today. So you're right about the local newsrooms do need pitches and they do need stories. And so, what's my advice? Still common sense. Don't pitch during a fire in a local area. Like read the room, monitor the news, and see what people are covering, and be targeted and be strategic instead of willy nilly. Pitch in the morning, not in the afternoon. Those sort of pitching techniques are pretty still in place. Yeah, now we have a 24-hour news cycle and we have us working 24 hours. That's okay. But so, but the main things are don't pitch during deadlines and really read who's writing what story to get through.
Yeah, we make everyone we hire, even interns when they come in, pitch a story. And most of them are like, oh my God, this is what you have to do all the time. Despite that, we still kept people around for a 10-year average. So
Yeah,
they're not getting
right.
completely scared away. You have a lot of insights into where you see the industry is going. What are some of the changes ahead that you're planning for and preparing for?
I mean, we've started to a couple of years while ago already. I feel like social media is part of our offering. And like the influencer marketing part also. I kind of I feel like they're having a comeback because for a while everyone was wanting to hit the influencers and then they were getting a bad rap because they were charging and they were sort of it was pay to play. Now I
Yeah.
feel like it's a little bit more important to find the right influencers for telling your story or reviewing your product or doing a product reveal. So that's still there. Um, when I say social media, I mean I to this day, like when tweets and likes and everything became and Instagram became a thing, the client, oh, I have 18 reshares, and I would say something's missing here. I would rather have a local story or a
Right.
morning Good Day New York store, interview rather than 800 likes. No, like it just seemed like earned media still had, but now we cross promote. So we take our earned media and we post it on social media and back and forth. So
Yeah.
that's that. And then the other trend, which is uh, been for a while, is content creation.
Mhm.
Again, back in the day, writing byline pieces was like that was a big get to write your own piece. Today, it's because of the dwindling newsrooms and resources, media content is creating pieces that are run with client bylines is a good thing.
You also talk big agency, small agency, and obviously you fit in the boutique
Right.
agency position. What are some of the advantage of small agency? And obviously you've had varied experience in your career.
If a strategy doesn't work, we're going to change it. We're not going to
Right.
have many meetings, and we sort of go with our instincts a lot. And then I have my little hand in a small agency. People ask me all the time, internally and externally, um, on my opinion, and I'm always happy to give it, because that's sort of, in a small agency, that's what you bring. You bring the CEO level expertise, and then other people who've been at the agency as well.
Great. Well, would you like to add any final thoughts? I really appreciate you taking the time out to speak with us.
I've admired you and your work for years, and I always love seeing all your information and your emails and your surveys and insights, because it sort of fits into our strategy in terms of what we like in getting the TV exposure. So that's what I'd like to say, is that thank you
Well,
for doing what you're doing for our industry.
thank you. And I'll just put it out there. I wasn't fishing for a compliment, but I'm really
You
glad
got
you
one.
gave me a good one. Yeah. Thanks
And
so
well
much.
deserved. Thank you.
Thank you.